Good day and welcome to another edition of Citizens Movement Radio News. Today is Wednesday, 8 October 2025. I'm Bernard Stele, ready to bring you the latest news and updates. Here are today's headlines on Citizens Movement Radio News. ZEC must take notes from Malawi elections, says President Chamisa. Shock as Mnangagwa jumps to the defense of corrupt cartels and fires Parliamentary Committee Chairperson Mutodi. Mnangagwa's government is being run by a criminal syndicate, says Chuma. Now let's delve into the detailed stories. Citizens President Advocate Nelson Chamisa has said the country has a lot to learn from the recently held presidential elections in Malawi as far as issues to do with transparency and credible elections are concerned. Posting on his social media platforms yesterday, Advocate Chamisa said the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ZEC must take notes from Malawi on how to run elections and respect the will of the people. Meanwhile, opposition spokesperson Promise Mkwananzi has called for ZEC to be disbanded because the electoral body is not fit for purpose in its current standing. Let's hear from him.
We have stated before and hereby reiterate that ZEC is unfit to conduct elections in Zimbabwe. In 2023, they did a shoddy job, and SADC noted it and recommended that the body be reconstituted, be reformed, and be improved, and make some improvements in order to ensure that the next election would be free and fair. And we've seen relatively credible elections in the SADC region. We've seen smooth and peaceful transfer of power in the SADC region, and we expect the same for Zimbabwe. And ZEC is not the body to facilitate that type of election. We need new people in ZEC. We need change in ZEC so that the next election, the people of Zimbabwe will have confidence in the election, will have confidence in the result, and will have confidence in the transfer of power should another person who is not Mr. Mnangagwa win that election.
In an embarrassing and astonishing move, Emmerson Mnangagwa terminated Bigita South MP Energy Mtodi's position as the chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Budget and Finance. Mutodi's removal yesterday comes just days after he revealed shocking corruption involving the Permanent Secretary of Finance, George Guvamatanga, who is one of Emmerson Mnangagwa's corruption poster boys. Opposition MP for Mbizo, Honorable Koban Madzivanyika, said it is now difficult for MPs to play an effective oversight role on corruption as they become targets for the ruling elite. Let's hear Honorable Madzivanyika speaking.
Yeah, I wish to strongly condemn the unjust and irrational dismissal of the chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Budget, Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Honorable Energy Mtodi, following his courageous exposure of corruption, which involves the Permanent Secretary and the Minister of Finance, George T. Guvamatanga. So, this act by ZANU-PF as a party represents a blatant and an irrational attack on the principle of transparency. It represents an assault on the principle of accountability. It represents the mugging of the governance principle that are enshrined in Section 2 of our national constitution. Dr. Energy Mtodi, Honorable Energy Mtodi, was punished for fulfilling his constitutional mandate or constitutional duty to provide oversight and hold public officials to account. So my general understanding and my expectation was that as soon as such exposés takes place, it was the responsibility of the Presidium would see the President swiftly coming in to say, to institute a commission of inquiry, to try to investigate all these allegations. But instead of investigating the allegations, the President and his cabinet decided to sack or dismiss Honorable Mtodi from his position. That on its own is a clear indictment that the current system or the current regime is not interested in fighting corruption. It is complicit in corruption. Just across our border in South Africa there, recently a junior police officer made allegations against some politicians and senior police officers. The president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, quickly instituted an inquiry of a commission of inquiry to look into those allegations of corruption. That is the culture that we expect under a normal country. Unfortunately, under our circumstances, we have turned ourselves into a banana republic where political allies do not care, they do not take corruption seriously. Corruption allegations by nature must be taken seriously. Instead, under our current circumstances, it's now clear that those who dare to speak out will be silenced. They have sent a chilling warning to all ZANU-PF MPs. It is now clear that the parliament has been undermined. The integrity of parliament has been reduced. The public confidence has been eroded as a result of this incident. So what it means is that there are no more checks and balances from ZANU-PF MPs. This is a dangerous trend, a very dangerous trend that seeks to promote a lawlessness, that seeks to promote the political elites without concentrating on the national fidelity and truth. So I think what has happened so far is a clear indication that the Mnangagwa government is a monster that is intended to milk national resources, that does not consider corruption as a cancer which eats up the progress of a country. So in conclusion, I wish to stand firmly with the Honorable Mutodi. I wish to stand firmly with all MPs who choose integrity over complicity. And I wish to call upon all Zimbabweans across the political divide, civil society, the religious spheres, to come on board and reject the abuse of power and demand the restoration of parliament. We want to demand the restoration of parliamentary independence and also demand the restoration of parliamentary privileges and immunity. I thank you.
Opposition official Stephen Sarkozy Chuma has said Emmerson Mnangagwa's government is run by a syndicate that is run by powerful and corrupt cartels. Chuma said it is now apparent that corrupt cartels are running the show inside Mnangagwa's so-called Second Republic. He said it is now clear that Mnangagwa is surrounded by criminals worse than those who were surrounding Robert Mugabe. Chuma said.
Yes, it is now crystal clear that Emmerson Mnangagwa sold a dummy to the whole nation when he told us that they were targeting criminals around the former president, Robert Mugabe. But what is now clear is that Emmerson Mnangagwa himself is a criminal and is surrounded by people who are very thirsty when it comes to looting national resources. It is now clear that Emmerson Mnangagwa is the godfather of criminals that were surrounding Robert Mugabe. In fact, what we've witnessed under the so-called Second Republic is unprecedented levels of looting, unprecedented levels of corruption. And to make matters worse, it looks like Emmerson Mnangagwa is protecting the very same criminals that are bleeding the country dry. That is the reason why this week we saw the demotion of one of ZANU-PF MPs who spoke against corruption. This is not the first time when we see ZANU-PF dictator Emmerson Mnangagwa leaping to defend people involved in corruption. We saw it in the past with opposition MPs who were deemed to be against corruption. They were the ones who were first recalled by Emmerson Mnangagwa's puppet, Senges Savangu. So clearly, Emmerson Mnangagwa is not the solution to the issue of corruption, is not the solution to the issue of bad governance, is not the solution to the issue of misgovernance, because he is part and parcel of the very same people who are involved in corrupt activities, the likes of Kudakwashe Tagbere, the likes of Goa Matanga, the likes of Fukino Chivayo. So Zimbabwe needs to have a new path, and that new path cannot be formed when Emerson Mnangagwa is at the helm of state power.
Bulawayo Mayor David Coulthard has said the removal of Energy Mutodi as chairman of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Budget and Finance presents an opportunity for MPs to speak about corruption allegations leveled against the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, George Guamatanga. Mayor Coulthard said the MPs have a parliamentary privilege to speak against corruption without fear of being sued for defamation. He said the deafening silence by MPs on corruption is a betrayal of the people who voted for them. Renowned economist Professor Gift Mugano has called for the scrapping of IMMT tax, notoriously known as the 2% tax. Professor Mugano said the 2% tax is the major driver of bank charges. Meanwhile, trade unionist Muyarazi Masiwa told CMR that the Treasury must reveal details of income that has been raised from the tax since its inception. He said the funds must be channeled towards public services like education and health. Masiwa said.
We are indeed in support of the suggestion by Professor Gift Mugano that Zimbabwe needs to scrape the 2% tax. We have been at the receiving end of these taxes. This is just a punishment to the general citizens who are living in abject poverty. We appeal to the government to scrape these taxes and also to reveal what has been used for, what these taxes has been used for. We have realized that for long we have been at the receiving end of these taxes, but the government is not open enough to point and say we have used your tax on A, B, C, D. So we suggest that these taxes may be used on services like the education and the health service, so that our communities can at least point to say this structure was built as a result of the 2% tax that has been deducted from us, that has been deducted from citizens. So we appeal to the government and clearly warn the government that there is no country which was built on these punitive taxes. There is no country which was built on punishing its citizens. So we appeal to the government to do the noble thing and make sure that the resources that we are reaping in this country are channeled to the needs of the society. And indeed, we want to emphasize that the 2% tax has been used as a punishment to citizens for the crimes that they are not aware of, that the government of the day is punishing them. So this must just stop forthwith.
Former lawmaker Jefferson Chitando has called for a maximum presidential age limit of 8 years. Speaking to Citizens Movement Radio, he said that instead of pushing to amend the presidential two-term limit, ZANU-PF must amend the constitution to stop old people above 80 years from running for office. Let's hear Chitando speaking.
It is known that from medical evidence that as someone grows older, his mental capacity is reduced. He loses a lot of brain cells, so he won't be innovative, he won't be technologically aptitude, he won't be in tandem with what the political situation in the world will be. In this regards, I propose that Zimbabweans, instead of pushing President Mnangagwa, who is already in his advanced age, which is about 80 plus, we as Zimbabweans, we amend the constitution to have a presidential maximum age limit of not more than 80 years. We don't want to suffer the same as Cameroon under Biya. We don't want to suffer the same as Uganda under Museveni. we should have fresh brains, innovative, young brains coming to lead the people. Muchishona vanoti hakuna harahwa inobata gejo vadiki vakagara pamumvuri. We don't expect a 90-year-old to move to a company to seek for employment, while a teenager is on pension. So it's important and paramount that we amend the constitution to have a presidential maximum age limit rather than amend the constitution to increase the presidential age or to increase the presidency term of office.
The ZANU-PF government has been condemned for snail-paced progress on national projects due to corruption. Center for Natural Resource Governance Executive Director Farai Maguwu has condemned Emmerson Mnangagwa's government for failing to complete construction of Melford Bridge along Harare-Mutare Highway. Work on the small bridge began in 2018, and 7 years later there is little progress, and that has resulted in stunted progress on the dualization of the road. Zimbabwe citizens living in South Africa have welcomed the move by the government of that country to extend lifespan of their Zimbabwe exemption permits by an additional 18 months. These permits were set to expire next month, but the country's Department of Home Affairs has announced the extension to allow for consultation with stakeholders as directed by the Gauteng High Court. The Gutu Road District Council Ward 4 by-election campaign turned violent yesterday when a ZANU-PF supporter identified as Musendekwa allegedly struck opposition official Jimmy Masuka with a brick while Masuka was campaigning for independent candidate Farai Maguwu. The by-election is due to be held on the 25th of this month. In a statement, Maguwu's campaign manager, Advocate Amon, condemned the attack and called for the perpetrator's arrest. Let's hear him speaking.
This is Advocate Amon, a well-known legal advocate, political activist, and a defender of human rights. Many of you know me as the voice of the voiceless. It is with deep constitutional concern that I strongly condemn the recent acts of political violence that takes place in Ward 4, where Mr. Jimmy Asuka, a political activist, was reportedly assaulted with a brick by an individual identified as Msendekwa of village Tumbimvi. This is not an isolated case. During a previous election, the same individual allegedly attacked Mr. Maragade with a log. Yet no legal action has ever been taken. This failure of justice continues to embolden impunity. It is unacceptable, comrades. This kind of barbaric conduct is a gross violation of our constitutional rights, particularly Section 52, the right to personal security. We've got Section 58, freedom of assembly and association. We've got again Section 67, the right to political participation. Comrades and friends, let me be very clear. Violence and intimidation have been absolutely no place in our democratic society. Power must never be seized through bloodshed or coercion, but through the free will of the people. We demand a government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. I therefore urge all peace-loving Zimbabweans, especially the citizens of Ward 4, the residents of Ward 4, to reject violence in all its forms. Let us unite. Let us uphold peace and participate peacefully in the coming by-election on the 25th of October this month. On the 25th of October this year. We say no to political thuggery, and let us say no to political barbarism and any form of barbarism. Let us say no to it. Let justice prevail. Let the will of the people be respected. I thank you.
Former Cabinet Minister Walter Muzembe will have to spend more time behind bars after his application for refusal of further remand was yesterday thrown away by the courts. In dismissing his application, the state said they are studying his docket. Muzembe was remanded in custody to the 23rd of October. It is now 3 months of pre-trial detention for the former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Critics say Mzembe's continued detention is a clear case of persecution by prosecution by Emmerson Mnangagwa to punish his G40 opponents. As Breast Cancer Awareness Month continues, activist Langton Mwanaka has called on the government to allocate funds collected from the sugar tax towards purchasing cancer treatment machines to help save lives. Mwanaka urged authorities to prioritize local healthcare investment to ensure early detection and treatment of all forms of cancer. Let's hear more from him.
The delay by the dictatorial government of Mnangagwa in disbursement of cancer tax funds can have severe consequences on cancer care. Some potential dangers include reduced access to treatment. Delayed funding can limit access to essential cancer treatments, including chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and surgery. Increased mortality rates. Lack of timely treatment can lead to increased mortality rates among cancer patients. Disruption of cancer services. Delayed disbursement can disrupt cancer services, including diagnosis, treatment, and palliative care. Financial burden. Patients may be forced to bear the financial burden of delayed treatment, leading to increased out-of-pocket expenses and financial hardship. Decreased quality of life. Delayed treatment can significantly decrease the quality of life for cancer patients, causing unnecessary pain, suffering, and distress. Potential consequences for cancer patients. Delayed diagnosis. Delayed funding can lead to delayed diagnosis, which can worsen cancer outcomes. Inadequate care. Insufficient funding can result in inadequate care, including lack of access to essential medications and treatment. Increased risk of complications. Delayed treatment can increase the risk of complications such as tumor growth and metastasis. Possible solutions. The government of Mnangagwa must prioritize funding. It should prioritize funding for cancer care to ensure timely access to essential treatments. Streamline disbursement processes. The government of Mnangagwa can streamline disbursement processes to reduce delays and ensure timely access to funds. Increase the transparency. The government of Mnangagwa should increase transparency in funding allocation and disbursement to ensure accountability and sufficient use of resources.
Speaking truth to power, Citizens Movement Radio, your favorite station. Take a look at our sports news. Warriors forward Kama Billiard has called on fans to turn out in full force and rally behind the team when Zimbabwe takes on South Africa this Friday at Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, South Africa in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. South Africa need to win to progress, while Zimbabwe is only playing for pride after a disastrous start to the campaign. Let's hear him speaking.
Yeah, the chemistry is good. I think we have most of the guys in camp, and the most important is to gel together in a very short space of time, and I think so far so good. Yeah, our second session has been great so far, and we've been focusing on moving the ball and getting the legs going, and I think we're gradually getting there, and the guys are ready, and of course we still have a few days, and we should be ready. Definitely, I think the guys are gelling very well. and we're training very well. We're looking good, and the combinations are good. And it's just that we just need to keep focusing and work together. And we trust everyone who is here, and and follow what the coach wants us to do, so that we can be ready on the day. All the Zimbabweans that are here in South Africa and all over the world, we just wanna thank you guys for the support that you have been giving. You guys have been amazing, and we're looking forward to have everyone to make it to the game, and just wish you to be safe on the road and wherever you're traveling, to come and support the nation.
In the Women's UEFA Champions League holders, Arsenal began their title defense with a 2-1 loss against Lyon at home last night. Former champions Barcelona thrashed Bayern Munich 7-1, while Juventus edged Benfica 2-1. Paris FC and Audi Heavily Leuven played to a 2-2 draw. Tonight, Real Madrid host Roma, Twente welcomes Chelsea, Manchester United entertain Vålerenga, and Wolfsburg take on PSG. To conclude our Citizens Movement Radio News, here are the headlines once more. ZEC must take notes from Malawi election, says President Chamisa. Shock as Mnangagwa jumps to the defense of corrupt cartels and fires Parliamentary Committee Chairperson Mutodi. Mnangagwa's government is being run by a criminal syndicate, says Juma. The news on CMRA English was brought to you by Bernard Chele. Me and the whole team wishes you all a pleasant evening. Good night to you all. Meet us again in another news bulletin.